garden, ready for plants. A little bit of raking, some seeds, and then I've got tomato cages and trellises for cucumbers and a couple other things. And then watering next, and then watch and wait. And here's my box of seeds that I ordered from Park Seed, my favorite seed company here. They always pack everything pretty nice. And so we've got materials. So the nice thing about Park Seed, which I like, a lot of their seeds come in these foil packs. So you see we got some tomatoes, celery. I've grown this one before. I'm going to try again. This is kind of tricky. The seeds are so tiny, see 250. But if you can get them to grow and you thin them out before they crowd, you can have a really nice stalk of celery. Let's see. Potato pelleted. Oh, you know what? This is something new I'm going to try. I normally do seed potatoes where I cut them up where they have like an eye growing, and I thought I would try these out this year. It's going to be hit or miss. Yep, going to do corn again this year. I did it one year. The animals came in and kind of stole all my corn, so I'm going to try to harvest it this year before the animals do. Corn. Cucumbers, I do those every year because I love making pickles. Carrots, that's another tricky one. Small seeds, and you have to thin them out once they start growing, or else you get 200 of them growing all right on top of each other. Basil, actually I might not need this. In my garden, my oregano in the back corner there actually came back this year, growing like a weed, so I'll have to find a space for this. But I always love basil and fresh basil in my sauces. And let's see, watermelon, that's a cool one. I think these actually are black watermelon, so they're supposed to be like extra sweet, and they grow a nice small size, like a I want to say something a lot more manageable for someone who doesn't have a huge amount of space to grow them. If you have space, then you can grow the mighty big ones, because they need more cucumbers. They need a lot of space to kind of spread out their leaves. And peppers. So this is a blend of, I believe, green, red, and orange bell peppers. And let's see what else. Dill. I like those for putting fresh in my pickle jars. Tomatoes. So I'm going to try 2 different kinds of tomatoes. I think it's supposed to grow fairly quickly. Onion. That's another tricky one. These are going to grow very tiny seeds, so you kind of have to plant like a line of them as sparingly as you can, and then just thin them out once they start to come up. And what else? Oh yeah, more tomatoes. You can never have enough tomatoes. And then usually they're very good about including a little handbook with all of their packages about watering and transplanting, because Park Seed also sells a lot of products for growing your seeds inside and then bringing them outside. This is going to be me direct sowing your seeds this year. I kind of prefer doing that. It's a little more challenging because you're dealing with the elements in the seeds. You need more time to get them up and producing vegetables, but the beauty of direct sowing them is, to me, they're a much sturdier plant, and you don't have to worry as much with the transplanting issues. It's not that it can't be done, it's just it takes a little more effort, a lot more care. Especially, I know someone asked me the other day about corn, and I was telling him that it's one of those plants that I don't know what you guys would say out there. It's not something you want to transplant because the roots can be very finicky and they grow a long taproot into the ground. And so if you're trying to grow them in a pot, you got this really long root that comes out the bottom of like your seed starter kit. And if you mess with that root too much, the plant's gonna be traumatized. So anyway. Remember this project? That was the old one. This is the new one. It's all planted now and watered. See, and take a quick look. This right here is watermelon. See how that goes? The ones at the end, the red ones, are going to be bell peppers. This line right here is all tomatoes. These 3 water lines you see on the ground are corn. I kind of have mixed success with those. Some years they do really well, and others not so well. These are my cucumbers. I put them in these A-frames every year and they do pretty well. Mound up the dirt around the bottoms, put a couple seeds, and they'll grow up they'll vine up the trellis and should give us a pretty good crop. Over here, this is my 2nd year of my asparagus plot. I got to clean it up a little. It's got a few weeds in there, but these guys right here are the asparagus plants coming up. Those aren't the spears that you would harvest, but you're supposed to let them grow for I think 1 year before harvesting some of them, and then I think on the 3rd year you can harvest with a little more, like they're a little more generous. But I gotta look that up again. I mean, this is a blueberry plant struggling to come back. Those are my cucumbers. And then over here I have a little experimental patch. I'm doing some potato seeds, which are kind of tough, but we'll see how I do. I'm used to planting cutting up potatoes and planting the eyes and doing very well, but I'm just trying something new. Here I'm going to try to grow some celery. Again, another finicky kind of, it's more of an experiment to see what I get and how many of them germinate. And then here's my little herb garden. So I have dill on one side that hasn't grown. These actually grew from last year. These are my oregano. Greek oregano. Grows like a weed, as I'm kind of figuring out. And then in this little plot right here, I have basil. Usually those are pretty good. I get those plants pretty, like they come in very strong, and then you can harvest them all season long. And that's it. All right, let's see how it does.